to Politics on the Rocks, your weekly source of Christmas cheer. This is a Christmas special episode. It's not really special, but it's Christmas time. So, from the cast at Politics on the Rocks, we hope everyone has a good holiday season and everyone stays good and doesn't die of Omicron variant.
Mm-hmm.
That was Willie Nelson and Norah Jones, Baby It's Cold Outside. Arguably one of the most based Christmas songs, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, speaking of based, oh shit, we forgot to do introductions. I'm your host, Nick. To my right, Chris.
Hello.
Across the table, Bookie.
Good day.
And in front of me, beautiful face I get to look at the entire episode, Cameron.
It's a good night.
What's up? And then our special guest this evening is...
Our special guest is very special.
Very special.
Very special. We finally got a Blanton's here. And it is as good as I wanted it to be. Or maybe even
really
better.
Is.
It is, it tastes, the hype, it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, I definitely think the price is justified.
Yeah.
And I would even go to say that even the resale price is justified if if you can't find it. I mean, it's really that's a really nice whiskey.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's really good. Well, I mean, what do you guys think? It's fair.
It's mediocre at best. Yeah.
Shut up, motherfucker.
No, it's delicious.
Yeah, it tastes delicious.
So first and foremost for this week, we are going to do Base Bro of the Week, Adam Jenney. He was the Florida gentleman who was kicked off a United Airlines flight for wearing a pair of women's panties over his face. He did this in an interview. He claimed that he did this to show how silly and nonsensical the mask mandates were, that, you know, he's going to put some panties on his face.
I guess it wasn't the first time he did it either.
Dude, that's based as fuck.
Yeah, he said he's done it multiple times and that nobody ever said anything to him. He just got, like, weird looks.
On an airplane or just in jet? That's
yeah, he said he flew, like, 2 or 3 times.
You're not in mask compliance. Yeah.
And then some other guy in the video, some other guy stood up and said, "Did he just get kicked off of the plane because he had underwear on his face?" And and then the stewardess goes, "Yes, sir, he did." And he goes, "This is fucking ridiculous. I'm out of here." And he grabbed his shit and left.
No way.
Yeah,
that's badass. I didn't watch the entire video. I just
that guy may be based too.
Our runner-up is that guy.
Oh yeah, right here. Shortly after Jenny left, other passengers started to speak up. And several of them ended up getting off the plane in support. At least one believed he had been kicked off for wearing what? I don't know. Anyway, that's our Base Bro of the Week.
Panty face Adam.
Yes.
Based guy. So this week we're gonna cover some stuff. I think
one of them that's not on there is
that's the one that we talked about, right?
Right.
Probably the biggest one.
Yeah. Let me pull up the notes so I don't fuck the headline up. As I naturally do. Where are you at here?
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 links I sent.
Yeah, so the
top one is the video, I think.
Yeah.
I'll read this one. Because the other one kind of spends
There's a couple different things.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the U.S. appeal decision on Assange on Friday at the British High Court. We'll talk more about that, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be fun and exciting and
super fun.
Yeah. Do you want to get into it, Bookie? Do you want to introduce our first topic of the week?
Do you guys just want to go straight into Assange or start small and work our way up?
Make a fucking decision.
Right,
you always ask us. Just make a decision.
Some little topics.
We're a team, dude.
Some little topics.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this might be a good one to end on because I feel like it's going to be kind of rowdy.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't really want to do it because Cameron does it, but
oh my god.
All right. Let's start with let's see here. A constitutional carry.
Okay. Yeah.
Coming to Florida.
Which we've talked about before. Right. We did like a whole half episode on it, I think.
Yeah.
It's not really nothing's official yet, but I guess they asked DeSantis if a constitutional carry bill came across your desk, would you sign it? And he said, of course. Right now, Anthony Sabatini, who we've brought up numerous times on this show, is working on a constitutional carry bill. And
an everyday base, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And as we've said before, that means that you're allowed to concealed carry without a permit, which we've seen in Florida has been an issue because the agricultural department controls the permits, and they've been kind of like politically using it as a political tool, and they've been revoking people's permits based on they were at the U.S.
January
Capitol
6th.
on January 6th and things like that. So, yeah, Nick's got the map pulled up here where basically, I mean, over the past like 10, 20 years, the U.S. has just been going towards unconstitutional carry. Florida would be the 29th state.
Yeah.
Or so I said unconstitutional carry. Constitutional carry. So yeah, Florida would be the 29th state, which is huge. That's like, we're above the halfway point of states just not requiring permits, which is pretty cool.
So I'm trying to find it now. Maybe you know off the top of your head. Does constitutional carry open the door to open carry?
I don't think in every state, but in Florida, the bill that's being proposed would.
Would allow open carry.
Yep, without a
Sick.
permit.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna get a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun and start walking around that with my walking around with that on my hip.
No,
Yeah,
would you
that would
put
be sick.
like a strap on? Like no.
Keep going.
Absolutely. Yes.
The second you said that, you're like,
Yeah.
here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. No,
Yes,
but like,
yes, I'm gonna open
so
carry a
it would
strap
just-
on.
It would. That sounds even more dangerous than the shotgun.
Remember when they did that at that college campus? All the students were walking around with like dildos and holsters.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
that's right.
Yeah, it was
That's
like,
Texas, I think.
yeah, it was after some mass shooting and
Oh,
nobody.
wow.
Yeah.
I
But sorry, Cam, what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, would you have like a strap that like, and you just kind of like
Like a
wheeled it in
sling?
the back, or how does that work? How do you
If
carry
I-
the shot off? Just
Oh, I would get a holster for it and just carry it like a big iron on my hip.
oh,
If I had a sawed-off 12 gauge I was carrying, I think I'd just carry it in my hand.
Yeah.
Just like,
like you could, somebody comes up to shake your hand, you're like, I got a shotgun.
One second, I gotta put my shotgun down.
you do like what the old school British hunters, like they have the hunting pistol and it's like it's latched down and it's like slinged over one of their arms as they walk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like the bird
No, I mean,
hunters.
Yeah, the bird hunters.
Being like serious, if this goes through, like it
This
doesn't
is essentially
change.
what I'll carry on my
Yeah.
head.
It
Oh, okay, I can.
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that. That would be
Sawed
dope.
off double barrel.
Yeah.
Just, a nice little piece.
if it goes through, it doesn't change anything for me. Like I'm gonna carry the same way that I carry all the time, which is concealed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think open carry is very.
yeah. We talked about that before.
But it's interesting because I actually just talked to somebody about this because of this news that DeSantis is kind of nodding to the idea of constitutional carry. Open carry, although I think it's pretty stupid, and I think it ultimately puts a target on your back in the event that something does happen and you are in a position like you're obviously going to be the first person that is targeted
To get
right in a
domed.
shooting.
yeah, for sure.
But with that being said, I think it has an interesting place where in that it kind of normalizes the idea that people carry guns on them regularly and out, in the public. So
Yeah.
I think, for FUDs that want to do that, I don't, I think it's stupid, but I
To each his
also,
own.
right, I
Yeah.
also support it because,
It'll be a good wake-up call for, the old Northeastern ladies at Publix that don't realize that, like, half the people around them are carrying a gun.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
yeah. At my mom's, at my mom's job, she...
Drop names, Nick. Drop names.
Should I?
No, don't
No,
drop,
I'm
don't
kidding.
drop names. Tell us the
No,
story.
well, yeah, anyway, so, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be able to tell this story without,
No, this is just a gentleman and another
Call
Call
it
it
gentleman.
names.
Mike and John.
yeah. So, not at the school that my mom runs, a grandfather, and it ended up turning out that he was a retired police officer, but he was picking up his grandson from school, and he must have, getting out of his truck, his shirt must have snagged on his pistol, his concealed pistol, that we found out he did have a permit for. And another parent from who I know for like a fact that he just moved here recently from Jersey, made a huge deal about it. Saw the guy's gun and made a comment to one of the girls that works for my mom, a pregnant woman, basically insinuating that she needs to do something about it. Meanwhile, the guy picked up his kid, walked back to his truck, and had no idea that this guy had an issue with it. And he's demanding that the pregnant woman confront a guy with a gun
Yeah.
that was not doing anything wrong.
That's what you call courage.
Right, yeah. That's liberal courage. And then another father, made a comment like, yeah, well, he probably has his concealed permit.
Which is besides the point.
Which is besides the point. And then the guy lost his shit and was screaming at this guy, ended up pulling his kid out of the school and all this stuff. And it was just
that actually happened.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Yep.
My comment on
it didn't matter because they were like, like they're done. Like even if he is not pulling his kid out, we're done with this.
Yeah,
we don't want him around here.
Well, that's good.
Well, because it's like it's a religious school, and it's like that's in front of kids. You're going to be screaming at another parent, cursing, and we don't want that.
You're fired, bro.
Yeah, that's my comment on that. Was that sounds like a guy who shouldn't carry a gun because he's way too emotional and
right,
and high strung.
And it turns out,
wow,
after the Stoneman Douglas school shooting, I guess there was a series of bills passed in regards to school firearms on school campuses and whatnot. But schools that are co-located with a church are not regulated by any of those laws. And it's up to the school's policy, which they do not have one. So it's completely legal for this guy to do that anyway.
Oh.
So I'm reading this article right now, and it's, talking about DeSantis' decision and all that. And it says, a video shared by the National Association for Gun Rights suggests Governor Ron DeSantis is willing to sign a constitutional carry bill into law if passed by the legislature. And then later on, they abbreviate it. And I feel like they should come up with an abbreviation that you can actually say out loud. It's NAGR.
Nagger.
Yeah. It's like
NAGR. I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, I know.
The abbreviation.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, that's like they should definitely come up with a different order for those letters.
Definitely didn't have someone like.
Oh, I get it.
No one reviewed that. Like
the video, only 6 seconds long, shows
That's
DeSantis
funny,
only briefly. The NAGR said it was filmed at a reception of the governor's mansion. Yeah, that's probably not the.
Yeah.
I could totally. Jesus Christ.
But I think
what does that stand for? Do we know?
National Association for Gun Rights. Which makes sense, but
could put the F in there.
yeah, exactly. Just throw the F in there.
Yeah, would have been the worst idea. But
after.
I don't know if you have anything else to finish off, Chris. But it's just like when we talked about constitutional carry, whatever, how many episodes ago that was. We're just doing so many now. It's just crazy that we have to pass a bill for our constitutional right. Because it's within the constitutional carry, it's really just it's restating what the Constitution already says,
right,
and putting it into state power, which is just crazy.
Isn't that something? Thing.
Just goes to show you how far off of the founding documents we have gone over the years.
Yeah.
We're now so for the last however many decades, we've been perfectly okay with buying our rights back in the form of permits, and now it's like a big deal when we make a bill that does the same exact thing that the Constitution does.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up.
It is.
Yep.
And hopefully we see this branch farther into other areas that maybe we should be etch-sketching, shaking that shit up so it resets back to the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and it says here in the article, Sabatini's been pushing for this since 2018 when he was elected. So,
dude, I feel like that guy is. I feel like that guy is like a firecracker.
Oh yeah, he is.
He just lit up all the time.
No,
just yelling at people.
He fucking takes Adderall.
He probably does blow by the mountain.
He's more critical of his Republican coworkers than he is of the Democrats, because he's just like this is just one example of like how they drag their feet when they have control of the legislature
Right.
to pass anything meaningful.
Right,
Yeah.
2008, here it is, 2021, or 2018, here it is, 2021, and it's still,
Yeah.
now we're
Yeah,
like
he
just now hearing about this.
Yeah, he'll call people out. He'll like Twitter attack them if that's a thing. You know, he calls them out and whatever though.
That's good though, because that's
Yeah.
the kind of Republicans that the Republican Party needs.
No, for sure. No, I'm all for it.
Personally, I only vote for Twitter bullies. 'Cause
Yeah.
those are the only type of candidates I vote for.
Because we're Twitter bullies. We have
I don't
to
have
we
a
have to
fucking
vote with
Twitter.
our kind.
Well, man. So soon, hopefully soon, people will be carrying everywhere. We don't even know.
Yeah, it would be sick.
It's kind of surprising
As
that
it should
Florida
be.
doesn't have that already. Like
Yeah.
people think Florida is like some crazy like Wild West place, and I guess it kind of is, but when it comes to gun rights, we're not really as far ahead as people think.
Yeah.
And same thing with Texas. Texas, I guess now they are, but they weren't always as far ahead as people thought either.
I think Texas was more of like a what am I trying to say? Like a societal thing. Like
yeah,
it was
it's
just
like, oh, we're
known.
Texans.
Well, it was just like
Yeah.
known. Like everybody is always carrying.
Well, this map floated around recently. Well, today I actually just seen it. I can't find it exactly, but there's like, This basically is the same data, but Texas only had. Of course, they put the fucking label right in front of the map.
If you go down, it's
Yeah,
probably
I'm sure.
in the article.
Yeah, so Texas actually only has a 35%. 35% of their people own guns, which is insane. I thought that would, I thought Florida and Texas for sure would have been like on the higher side.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, but I mean,
Wyoming,
I guess,
Idaho, and Montana actually have the highest.
It's
Or
been like 10
Arkansas,
people live there.
West Virginia, yeah.
yeah, and I guess it's
Oh, yeah, I guess that's
probably has to do
percentage,
with the
right.
fact that there's pretty high population density areas in both Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
Right.
And in all those areas, you're mostly not allowed to own certain types of guns and stuff. So
Or just like a certain type of person lives in those high
Right.
density areas. They don't own guns, probably.
yeah,
Right.
that's the
Rhode
other thing.
Island.
Like Tampa, Orlando, Miami.
Or if they do, they're not like we don't know about them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's always a good point to bring up. That a ton of people own guns.
I
that
always forget
aren't
Ohio's
registered.
a real place.
Yeah, and apparently it sucks. It's like the lightest color on this. New York 10%. What a bunch
Look,
of
Delaware's 5.2%. Rhode Island, 5.8.
One of the coolest shooting ranges I ever went to was in Delaware. Actually,
Yeah, right, dude. You have the coolest shooting range in your backyard.
yeah, that's true.
Remember how high we got building that?
Damn,
That was fun.
South Carolina, dude. South Carolina's pretty high
44%, yeah.
for like what you would think of as primarily a blue area now.
I'm like, holy shit, LA has 45%? Louisiana. Get it? LA.
Ha, ha.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah,
Well,
so that's exciting. I really hope that gets done within.
this year,
I hope that happens in 2022. I mean, it's about time.
If it
when it
doesn't,
comes to Florida,
and
man,
it's,
it's
you
just
know,
ridiculous.
his last year of being our governor, possibly, right?
We'll see. We'll see
No,
what
yeah.
happens. I'm really interested to see what happens with this like mass migration.
What do you guys think about? So
Yeah.
Donald Trump brought up he named DeSantis as a possible vice presidential candidate in his if he runs in 2024. Holy shit, that's so far away.
Yeah, it is.
But
Against Kamala Harris.
yeah, and I mean, reading the comments, even people who aren't from Florida were like, "No, we need to keep Florida as like a stronghold of freedom." And I feel like pretty much everyone from Florida feels that way. They're like, "No, fuck you, hands off DeSantis, motherfuckers."
Fuck you, no.
Find
Yeah.
somebody
He's
else.
our guy. If he leaves, I'll feel like the Patriots fans when Brady left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be so butthurt. I'll be like, no, that's our guy. You cannot
Yeah, I know
Can't take 'em.
we brought it up before, but I just feel that would be a terrible a terrible move for DeSantis.
for sure.
When more than likely he's got in the bag another 4 years as governor of Florida, and then since he can't do any more, you might as well go on to vice president, maybe working some cabinet for a president if you don't do vice, and then work your way to vice and then president.
Yeah.
I think
Play the game,
I think we can all agree that COVID and the power trip that a lot of the Democrats are on right now, I think we can all agree that that's not ending anytime soon.
Yeah.
So my prediction is, I think Ron DeSantis wins again. I think we have him. I think he's around for a while. I think this goes on until 2024, and at that point, if DeSantis remains as good as he's been with all these, mandates and not mandates, but his activism against all these mandates, rather, I think he could beat Trump. Honestly, I think if it came down to it, I think he would be the more popular vote.
I think it would split, and then I don't think a Republican.
I don't think so, man.
I think if he continues at the rate he's going now with like popularity, and just checking boxes, I mean he's really the ultimate candidate.
Yeah,
and I know like there's a push to like have him here for longer, but there's like you have to make like a political decision. Like when you're on top, that's when you go for those types of things.
Yeah,
and there's potential that if he stays, governor for however many more years, another term, then like something could happen. A hurricane happens, a bunch of people die. They don't like the way he reacts, and then he's not in the place that he is today.
Right? Yeah, that's always a possibility. With when there's a hurricane in Florida, you better be fucking there.
You better be on
in
it,
the
bro.
hurricane. I think I'd like to send DeSantis a bunch of copies of like Rothbard and Ron Paul and whatnot. Books, and then turn him into a libertarian, and then he'll have absolutely no chance of winning a national presidential election.
Jesus.
That's a great strategy, Chris. I like that strategy.
Yeah, I think there's such a small chance that he would run against Trump. I think.
Oh no, I'm not saying it. I don't think he would, because from what I understand, they're actually pretty good friends outside of their office. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's because of the office, but from what I've heard, they're like good friends. So I don't see that happening.
I can see him running in the primaries just for like the experience, because that's always something that's huge with like a first time runner. Like it's really hard to win on your first time. I think
Right,
like
'cause you don't
Obama was like
understand
an
it.
exception in that regard.
One might
Obama,
say it's
Trump.
because he's a good candidate.
Well, no,
Yeah.
didn't Trump run in the primaries like
No.
a little bit before, and then he
No, this
he
was
said
his
he was
first run.
going to.
Yeah, I think he's always like floated it.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, I'll do it, and then eventually he did, and people were like, yeah, this guy's gonna lose. And he fucking took over. But yeah, I don't know. It's,
my cigar is fucked.
I think
Keeps going out.
Really?
Yeah,
I
it's
got
funny because I
more.
don't stop smoking.
I got those little ones over there too.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, you
Did
can.
you
dab
leave
them.
those outside?
No, I smoked one earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could say this at any point in like American history, for the most part. But I think the next decade of American politics will be very interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna be
2024, we'll see.
I mean,
the downfall
we've
of
had
Biden.
some pretty big, I don't know, probably things that are going to be pretty big milestones in like future history books. I mean, I know that. I mean, as much as I think January 6th is like a no big deal type of thing, I definitely think it's going to be something that people are going to look back on, and
Oh, for sure.
Well, yeah. When was the last time anything like that happened? It was burned down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. When the
then it became the White
that
House.
was the White House, yeah. Those damn Canadians.
Canucks.
The one time they got good on us. Besides other times when they teamed up with the Indians.
And now we're gonna do some sad news, right? Fuck it, why not? Let's do some sad news.
Oh yeah, big Florida news.
Yeah, this is.
Is this really that sad though?
I mean, dude, come on.
Come on.
Yeah. Carol Jenkins Barnett, the daughter of Publix Supermarkets founder George W. Jenkins, and perhaps Polk County's most influential philanthropist, died Tuesday night at age 65 of complications from Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. It's not very old, 65.
No, not at all. Like, she doesn't. I'm assuming that's her, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Carol Jenkins Barnett. What year was
Well,
She
that?
looks
that was
like she's 40
2014,
there,
so
yeah.
that was like 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh dang, she looked good.
Yo, she's
So
a
yeah,
baddie.
she was only like 59. Yeah, her photo, her like Publix photo was like. I
Hey,
was
can we
like,
find
man,
a
that
younger
must have
picture
been
of her? Just
This is the owner of Publix.
This
Yeah.
guy on the right, the picture. Yeah.
He was the founder, and she was the daughter who took over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
he looks a little sketch, but yeah.
It's just the mustache.
He looks like every guy from that era.
Yeah, I know, but
No, he looks sketchy because he looks like Walt Disney.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking.
God.
but you
with
get
the pencil mustache.
but like Cameron said, that's what everybody looked like back then. But
Yeah, he
now we just see them. They're like, they probably said some things and did some things.
Oh, for sure. You know what though? Publix is the shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean
I'm a fan.
that's why Kroger's
Yeah.
not down here, right? Because they probably can't compete with Publix.
Dude, I'm here to say it. Carol Jenkins, daughter of founder of Publix, she can get it, dude.
She's dead, so.
Well,
well, she can still get it. For some people.
she could have gotten it.
Oh man.
Oh, Jesus.
R.I.P.
Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's big news, man.
She may be gone, but Publix will carry on.
What is that going to do to the subs? Are we still going to get $5 subs? I think they should permanently
Look,
lower the price.
She passes away and then immediately like, the sub prices
I'll
change.
be pissed, dude.
Well, I heard. I don't know. We could go into some Publix news. Maybe
Public conspiracies.
Yeah, a couple of months ago. I don't know if I heard this via someone working at Publix or somebody like down the line. Like they heard from somebody, then my wife heard, and I was told that Publix has stopped making a lot of their baked goods in house.
Huh.
And a lot of that more has gotten like frozen, and they just ship it in and they defrost it there.
See?
man.
Look, it's already starting.
But
I think it's a conspiracy.
Who knows
Conspiracy theory.
yeah, who knows if that was conspiracy or like because of COVID, it was easier for them to control things from a separate area, and then I don't know,
Yeah. It seems like I don't know the source.
right?
Yeah.
But
Source, bro?
From,
None. Made it up.
The source is Publix officials familiar with the matter.
yeah, but yeah, Publix or out of state. Publix goes up into I think South Carolina.
Really?
I think
Yeah,
so.
it goes pretty
Yeah,
far out.
it's the furthest up I've seen was in Charleston.
Yeah.
Personally, I know they go higher. That's just the
I don't know if they
farthest I've seen
really
it.
do. I don't know if they're in North Carolina.
Let's look it up.
The only other like grocery store that I think is like comparable in quality wise is Wegmans, which is like from northern New York, Syracuse area.
I
They're,
ty-
like,
I typed-
similar like super high quality subs.
Most North Publix location, Vero Beach.
You said Sean Ryan Pub. But yeah, and Wegmans goes down to like the Carolinas as well. I feel like they just like stopped at each other's front doors, because they're too similar.
Draw the line. Don't pass.
Holy shit, that's surprising. Virginia.
Virginia.
Whoa,
Wow.
That's
Damn,
well out
that's
there.
more than I thought.
Yeah, same. Publix should take over and.
Yeah, well, if you've never been to a Publix and there's one somewhat close, get your chicken tender sub.
Would you guys be okay with Publix taking over the federal government?
I mean,
I'd
at
be
this
okay
point-
if Chick-fil-A did.
To be
but
honest,
Publix.
I'd be a little skeptical of Chick-fil-A.
I feel like
Really?
Publix.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
would-
about you guys, but lately at Publix, I feel like they've been kind of going a little Chick-fil-A. Like the people working there, like
Little
a
Virgin.
lot of them say "my pleasure" all the time.
It's
and-
not a bad model to follow. They're
also very
Chick-fil-A's crushing it.
super friendly. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
like to be treated nicely.
Yeah.
You know.
And,
So they just
Publix.
throw your shit in a bag and tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that can be the experience.
They're like, "Would you like some help outside?" And even though you can tell that they don't want to help, but they're like, they're nice enough to ask, and
Yeah.
they will. if
Yeah,
you-
I stopped in there, Chick-fil-A I'm talking about, to pick up some stuff for some friends, and man, every time I go there, I'm just like blown away, and I'm like, this is like the perfect example of what happens when you run a company like,
yeah.
I
mean,
you
I come out
have
feeling
high
nice.
standards for
I come
people.
out of that drive-through line feeling good about
And-
myself.
And like I know people that have worked at that location in Vero, right next to the Outback.
Yeah.
They pay them pretty decently
Oh,
for
yeah.
what they do.
Oh man, they make a ton of money.
Oh, that locate? Yeah, that location crushes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been there where the line hasn't been
I mean, they put the
to
other
the
location
end
out.
of the parking lot.
They bumped the other location out of business.
Well, yeah, that it was in the mall. That's not. I feel like it's not a hard
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
to
that's
beat.
Still,
pretty
people
much
were
a
like-
terrible location.
When it first
at this
happened,
point.
I remember I used to work in the mall. People were like, "Oh, it's it's gonna be there, but we're still gonna do well." And blah, blah, blah. You guys are gonna get
okay.
fucked.
I'm like, have you looked around?
Yeah,
Have you not?
Do you-
have you not seen the
I think-
writing on the
Do
wall?
you hear yourself right now?
like
You
Chick-fil-A.
don't have to get out of your car over there, okay?
Like Chick-fil-A was the reason why the mall was somewhat busy.
yeah, it's the only reason anyone went. Yeah, now it's just a Dillard's
Yeah.
and a Spencer's.
Spencer's is still in there. Yeah, I was happy to see
Dude,
that.
every like
They had some
rundown
funny-
mall I go into still has a Spencer's.
Well, I feel like there's no other place that does what Spencer's does.
Yeah.
I will say though,
Sell dildos.
I went in there and that's like all it is now. It's like gag shirts and sex toys.
That yeah, it used
Yeah.
to be like a little bit more diverse, but
Yeah.
that's literally all it is.
yeah,
now.
they used
Surprises
to have
me.
like the gag gifts and like some other like band stuff, but now it's just like
Good Halloween.
I walked
spot.
in. Normally it was like the very last shelf. It
Yeah.
was like one
Yeah.
shelf,
It's
and
like
now it was
hidden.
like the first shelf, like dick right in my face.
In the window, they used to have a light up dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it surprises me because I feel like that's something that people would buy online. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
kind of take out the
Sometimes you gotta test ride it. You know what I'm saying?
in store. It's like, sir, you can't do that.
You guys got a test room in here?
It's like, I didn't see no sign saying I can't. You trying to tell me I can't put this dildo in
dude.
my ass?
And you know people, because like, again, working in the mall back in the day,
You're
know
telling me
some of
this
that.
isn't sanitary for the next person?
there's a good amount of like elderly
Fucking
people
liberals.
who use the mall as like an indoor walking area because it's perfect, right? It's humongous. It's 18.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's
people who
bizarre.
like
Yeah.
it's their thing. You know, old guys have gone in there and like fucked up some shit in Spencer's. Like just walked in, like done some things they shouldn't be doing. Like people were gonna like, fuck, dude, this guy's here again. Like, dude, Jim, you cannot put that in your anus.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not a lollipop, it's a dick. Stop
Yeah.
licking it.
Jerry, I'm gonna watch you until you leave. Okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
We're not doing this again.
Some chick with like blue hair working at the front with like a choker on.
Yeah, she doesn't know what to do. She's like never had to deal with
There's
conflict
a-
in her life.
There's a sheriff office in the mall too, so they can get on that real quick.
Yeah.
yeah, Tar Mall is crazy.
Probably
But-
shoot
And a dentist office.
They can
in
shoot
case
him 9
his teeth
times
get
in the
fucked up.
back.
And
Yeah.
a quarter of the mall now is a church. So
And there's
Yeah.
also a ping pong place and a place you can buy swords. I mean, it
What?
goes on and on. dude.
a
I
karate
do not
studio.
understand how those stores are the ones that like
have
withstand the like
Yeah.
the test of time.
I don't either.
It's because they buy this shit for like 50 cents and sell it for like $10.
Yeah.
Like big granite like things that are
Yeah,
like
like
$700 that are never
Like-
sold. It's like what?
Just like Buddha statues and
Yeah.
shitty pocket knives.
You like walk in, you're like, I need that dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Go
not
in my
sure-
bedroom.
I'm not sure what for, but I have this.
I need
strong-
that jade dragon.
the jade dragon.
We should all just get a giant jade dragon and put it in our bedrooms. So our
Yeah.
wife shows up at home.
I think after this episode goes live, we should that should be a poll question.
Yeah.
And if we get more than 50%, we have to buy a dragon to put
A jade
somewhere
dragon.
out here.
yeah,
Maybe to protect the
I'm,
whiskey.
I'm pretty sure you could probably haggle with the guy at the store.
easily.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The guy's just happy someone walked in.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was younger, I definitely like argued with my mom and convinced her to buy me a sword.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, from one of those places.
Yeah, I don't remember ever actually having it, but I feel like I definitely haggled with
No,
the
I
guy.
had some swords, bro.
You did have some
I
swords.
had some swords.
Yeah, you had a weird obsession.
Yeah, no, I was in. I had a couple swords.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I love you
Let
and
me-
everything, but you might have been like 3 steps away from like shooting up a school.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't have shot it up. He would have
I would have
went in
came
there
in
with
as
like
a
a
samurai.
like a mid-century claymore.
Yeah, like if
Just
you
a massive like 27-inch
like
blade.
if you didn't go to Suncoast, like things might have changed drastically.
Let me ask you this: are you like a historic sword type of guy, or like one of those like sci-fi sword type of
Well,
guys?
I dabbled in both. You know, I
Okay,
had like a
okay.
couple daggers that were pretty medieval looking,
Okay.
and then I had like a samurai sword, and then I had a couple other ones.
Didn't you have like a knuckle sword, like knuckle dagger? That was like a brass.
Didn't you have a sword that actually wasn't a sword? It was just like a 40-inch dildo.
I don't remember.
I
that
feel
one.
like I feel like
some
I do.
kid in middle school threatened to bring his katana to school and stab me, and I immediately punched him in the face. It was like the only time I've ever punched anyone. It was like one of 2 times I've ever punched anyone. And I got sent to the principal's office and told her the story, and she literally was like, "All right, you're free to go." And she brought the other kid in, and like he got in trouble.
and then she punched him in the face.
Yeah, that was Texas schools. You know, they're real. They're
Yeah.
like, all right, he threatened you with a sword. All right, you punch him in the face. That's fine. Whatever.
It's like at least threaten him with something that's from Texas.
You're like, you can stab me tomorrow, but what are you gonna do when I punch you in the face today?
Exactly.
Oh,
No. Yeah. You know what is it? What are you gonna do?
Punch
Yeah,
him in the face.
Good times.
Punch him in the face.
All right, let's
What else
jump to.
you want to do the House Democrats in Florida?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna click on here.
So I don't. What was this about? I read this article.
They
I don't
just,
know.
So
They were
it's-
just bitching
she
about the
looks
budget,
Yeah,
right?
look at her face. It's so funny.
Oh, jeez.
What? I went like full screen here, and it like
That's what
fucked up
nightmares
the
are made out
aspect
of right
ratios
there.
here.
You gotta zoom.
She looks
Easy.
way too concerned.
So those are their 4 points right there below her dumb face.
All right, sorry. Let
I
me
guess
minimize
the
this.
background I do remember now was this is maybe a week and a half old. This is right before DeSantis
Wow, look
released
at that guy.
his budget for 20.
Hey, what getting no pussy does to somebody? Am I right?
So this is before DeSantis released his 2022 budget, and
Does he have relation to Adam? Look, he's got the same last name, Evan and Evan Gene.
Oh.
Gene.
Yeah, that's his creepy uncle.
we just send him a bunch of like emails, like.
All right, Brooke, tell us what we're looking
Yeah.
at.
So again, this was a week and a half ago. So this is right before DeSantis released his 100 million. I think it's 100 million.
Right. This is
budget-
Florida's
budget,
proposal.
yeah. And so before he released it, he just kind of gave some like hype, like points that he wanted to get through the budget, like talking points. And this is the Democrats talking about what they wanted out of it that they didn't specifically see so far, even though it hasn't been released. So it's just kind of like he releases what he wants or what he's going to propose through it, the high points, and this is them saying, "Hey, this wasn't part of your high points. This is what we want to see."
Okay.
So, and again,
Still one.
the big part, like what this article talked about, was we want a budget that's people first. And
What does that mean?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those real relevant terms.
Yeah.
Is
Those buzz
essentially
phrases.
like a list of things that they think is going to make, like, put DeSantis on his heels, basically.
Or help people.
Because they can say, like, oh, you're, like, not compassionate, like, you refuse to help people.
Yeah.
But, like, all of these requests basically just, like, displayed for everyone their total lack of economic knowledge and, like, what these things would do
And I think
to our
like
economy.
at least a quarter of which there are only 4 things in this article, but he's addressing the education one. I think he's raising the teachers' income.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
Which, like we talked about previously
Yeah.
and
I mean,
multiple times,
We can always
it's
bash the
never,
teachers,
it's never enough.
Yep.
Right? It's
Yeah.
never enough.
but
What is
again,
the average salary for a teacher in Florida?
It's
look
too
it up.
little.
Too much, you mean?
Too much.
Too much, I mean.
but
Whatever
Lower
it
it.
is.
but again, I think they wanted all education and staff to be raised. So
51K, 52K.
What? is it really that high?
That's the
That
state
depends on-
average.
yeah,
The
it's the
highest
average.
earners 76, and the lower are 41,000
Wow.
a week.
So let's just go with 41. That's still too much. I mean,
I mean, you get 3 months off.
not to get into like a teacher rant, but we could look up how many
Oh wait,
school
never mind.
shootings have been stopped in the past like 3 months in Florida. Our teachers are not doing a good job.
Yeah, like stop one school shooting and we'll think about raising the
Yeah.
wage.
Let's just go a month without like kids being stopped at going to school with guns. And maybe we increase teacher wages.
But that's not the teacher's fault.
Yeah.
In hindsight, we've talked about this before, and we would be willing to pay teachers more if,
They did a better job.
well, not only if they did a better job, but if we got to keep our tax money, right?
Yeah, and
And
pick who we want to
Pick who
teach
we
our
want
kids.
and have an actual competitive market for teaching. Then yeah, sure, we'd be willing to pay them more, but they would make a lot more money because they wouldn't have to deal with all the nonsense, that teachers, administration and that kind of stuff,
Right.
Well, yeah, it's the whole argument of like not accountability, but like a performance based salary. Like we're paying you all this money, and it's increasing, but nothing else is increasing with it.
Exactly.
Where in a free market, if a teacher's not doing a good job, they have their own private school or whatever it is. You're not gonna pay them more if your kid isn't, if your kid's falling behind or not excelling. Like you're not gonna.
Yeah. See episode 28 for our in-depth thoughts.
In-depth
on
analyses.
Yeah.
the teachers.
So what else were the Democrats saying they wanted out of this next
All
budget?
All right, so
Affordable
here's the
housing?
four bullets. Cut down on corporate tax breaks, boost wages for all education facility and staff, bolster affordable housing, and address the cost of healthcare and insurance. So that last point's interesting, and we talked about this on another episode where the cost of healthcare and insurance is directly related to government involvement in that sector. So now they want to have more
regulate it more,
regulation and involvement in that. So that's kind of interesting.
Just the Adam Driver meme of more.
Yeah,
Right.
affordable housing is always a funny, like, two words for me, because what does that mean? What is affordable? And, like, I feel like the focus is always on houses are too much, rent is too much, people can't afford this, and not why can't people afford this, right?
And, the other thing is, I mean, look at, a lot of people will deny this, but the 2008 financial crisis was a direct result of these pushes for affordable housing. Everybody deserves to have a house and these types of things. The programs,
and then nobody can fucking pay.
Yeah, programs put forth by Bill Clinton and George W. Bush both were, governed by that idea that every family deserves to have, like, own a house. Which, okay, that's, on the surface, that's a valiant goal or whatever. But if it's not realistic, it's not realistic. More people own houses today than probably any other time in history, because that's how capitalism works. People gradually get lifted out of poverty, and conditions only get better unless these assholes decide to try and control it through centralized government power, and they have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Chris, wasn't that that whole thing was based on like a study that if your kids grew up in a house that you owned, you know what I'm saying, versus like a house that you rented, like it was like a much better strategy for like success or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was based on. And so the idea was like, everybody should be able to own a house,
right?
But like, the thing they missed with that is that it wasn't so much that they needed to own the house, is that like a lot of times the kids that were in these houses that renting, they were just moving back and forth to different houses.
Yeah, and they had unstable families.
They had unstable, exactly. So they had unstable families, and that was what really the issue was. They didn't have a good family structure because their father was gone.
Yeah, if your family owns a house, chances are your parents are together.
Exactly.
You're in a stable family.
Exactly, and so
chances of success increase exponentially.
Exactly, man. And so that was really what it was showing. It wasn't the fact that you needed to own your house. It was that you needed to have a family.
Yeah.
Where your father was there and not just gone doing whatever else or
gone to get a gallon of milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still getting that milk 20 years later.
A forever milk.
But yeah, it's just one of those cases where, it's a government thing for sure, but everybody does it. They take, they look at the data, or they take the information they want, and then they find correlation between two things, and they use that to prove their point.
Yeah, that's what we've talked about endlessly, is this, like, seen versus unseen. Like, you see the effects of this government policy where they're going to put people in houses, and, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows, everybody's going to own a house, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But then the unseen effects are ignored. And I mean, the fact of the matter is that money is being forced into a market that it otherwise wouldn't have been forced into. It's gonna, skyrocket the supply of houses, and it's gonna do all sorts of manipulate the market in all sorts of ways that affects other people who, don't get government help. So, like, what happens if you're a person you can barely afford to get a house, but you can afford to get one. And then the government runs this program where they're just like essentially giving people houses with your tax money that make just a little bit less than you.
Right.
But you're just outside of that bracket, right? And so then all of a sudden, the availability for houses disappears. The prices of houses skyrockets for people who, have to pay for them on their own. So then you're just fucking over, like, the middle class. It's always the middle class that gets fucked over by those types of policies. The people who are just well off enough to be able to, afford it on their own, but they're not, doing bad enough to be able to participate in these programs.
Yeah. No, you're right on. You are right on.
Yeah. And I would like to see not the way to bring it up now or anything, but just something that came to my mind. You know, they talk about affordable housing. You know, how much does Habitat for Humanity do towards, you know, affordable housing compared to, and I would probably be that Habitat has government funding, I would assume. So you could say it's part of the government, you know, scheme of affordable housing.
Yeah, I'm sure they have grants and stuff.
But what they do versus a fully government affordable housing program, I wonder how that like adds up to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they do a pretty good job, but
I mean, the
Yeah.
way they price their places, yeah.
I was reading one of their
well, you have to be
write-ups.
involved. It's like you have to enroll in that process.
Well, I'm just talking about you go to Habitat to buy like a new couch, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
is this really a deal?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's true. Yeah, that stuff's not cheap.
Yeah.
I was reading one of their write-ups because we did a couple of projects for them at my work, which we do for free, by the way.
Tax write-off?
Yeah, I think so, but also out of the goodness of our hearts.
Yeah.
And we actually do a good amount of work for them. But
That's pretty cool, though.
I'm not 100% sure if there is a tax write-off. I don't know, but they're pretty demanding for us doing it for free. But so I was reading one of their write-ups, and it's like it was like 1-story concrete block structure to be one-story wood frame structure to be constructed by high school students. And I was just like, oh shit, I don't know if I'd want to live in that thing.
I wonder what. Sorry, excuse me. I wonder what the what if we were just to do away with all sort of permitting and local government involvement in the building code and construction in general. I wonder how that would truly affect the price of homes.
Oh, they would go down so much.
Right, because it's not even that, like, especially in Florida, that permitting is really expensive. It's the time.
It's just a bitch.
The time.
Yeah, it's the time that's wasted. You'll be sitting on a job that, weeks will go by that nothing's getting done because it's just impossible to coordinate around inspectors and plan inspections. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if anybody's ever looked at, like,
it's not
I'm
even,
sure someone has, but.
It's what Nick just brought up, too, but even permitting of the land, what you can do with it, right?
Yeah.
Because they will dictate how many houses you can put on an acre. They'll dictate how far those houses have to be apart, et cetera, et cetera. And to some point, yeah, that's probably a good idea to have as a, if you're a builder building an area of houses, a good builder is probably not going to build them 20 feet apart. And maybe if they do, okay, they do, and those houses are probably shit.
Mm-hmm.
But at least someone's living in a house, I guess. That's like
that's the
sunny
thing
side.
is like, yeah, like builders could like overcrowd areas and make it like kind of shitty living situations. But if people are going to buy it, then, there was a demand for that type of housing. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be, so I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a better answer to these affordable housing. It's not like half of these affordable housing buildings are very good living conditions anyways.
No.
These are like, townhouses that are pretty cramped.
Exactly.
In my experience, when I've seen like subsidized housing and stuff, it doesn't look very nice. So
No, not at all.
Yeah, and just a local thing we brought up maybe 10 episodes ago, we're kind of interested more in the county back then when they were doing stuff, was they had in one of the county commission meetings where a builder was building a development south of here, southwest. The county was talking about how far apart the house is, how far away is from the road, all these things where it seemed like if they didn't like any of those things, they could have stopped that, area being built on.
right.
So,
And I mean, I lived in military housing, which is essentially subsidized housing, and if it's anything like that, it's not great.
yeah. But it'll be interesting to see because
COVID?
Omicron.
Oh, shit, we all have COVID.
Omicron. But just maybe for me to wrap up for my personal view of, the DeSantis budget I think has been released now, so it'll be kind of interesting to see over the next couple months how it
plays out.
starts to unvolve, and maybe we could. I said this last episode too. Once things start going into motion, we can kind of look into it, see more what actually is being used for, because Democrats always going to say we want this in the budget, and if it was a Democrat governor of Florida, the Republicans would be saying the same thing. But for me, at the end of the day, I don't know, it's $100 million. Even if Florida is one of the best at budgeting and using their money well, we have reserves and stuff. It's like, what is this going to? Who knows?
Yeah.
Facts.
Oh,
All facts.
straight
No
facts.
paper.
No cap.
No cap.
No cap. Real dead ass B.
I highly dislike that saying.
What? No cap?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's because you're capping, bro.
Oh,
I'm not up to date on any of these terms, bro.
ugh.
I think it's when you don't wear hats often.
Oh.
You have no cap, and then if you do wear caps often, you're capping.
Oh.
Straight capping.
Okay.
So what happens if, like, for me, like, I'm kind of 50%? It's like, am I half capping?
cap.
Half
Yeah.
cap.
You're
half capping.
You're half mast.
One might say. One might say I'm half torqued.
Half cap.
Maybe I'll have to ask a certain somebody how half mast you are.
We moving on to hate crimes here. We had a pretty good hate crime talk. Was that last?
Yeah, that was last
or-
episode.
Okay, yeah.
We went hard in the paint.
Is this our base bro honorable mention, possibly?
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry. I thought Tina whatever was the
What? Where do you see Tina?
second paragraph. I thought that was the name of the person who
Oh, Tina Polsky.
pulled the donuts. Did some donuts.
Yeah, I guess Florida may toughen law for hate crimes after gay pride display vandalized.
So it was one of those rainbow crosswalks.
Yeah,
And
somebody
did
donut.
some donuts on it with some Trump flags on the back of their pickup truck or something.
See, now my thing is if you want to build a memorial or a display, I feel like you're setting yourself up to put it on a crosswalk, right?
In the middle of the road.
Like, yeah, on a fucking road, and then be pissed that somebody burned out on it.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, whatever, like, that's besides the point whether you...
When your monument is what you drive on, it's not a good start.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we know how good our
Well,
monuments that aren't
you know,
even.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they were doing it in good conscience here. I think they were mad that the Pride display was
Right.
not representing people of color, so they put some black stripes in there.
That was my take. Either that or they wanted to highlight why it's a bad idea and that we need to move these to more,
Wow, both good ideas.
More
yeah.
respectful.
And that's why he's our base bro
It's like-
honorable mention.
Right.
It's like when you hack
Not
the
because
system.
he burned out all over a gay pride display.
But
Definitely not that.
just to bring up the meat and potatoes of this article, the reason why this is a thing is because in Florida state law, you can't be prosecuted with a hate crime if the crime you are doing defaces government or public property, which is
That's a pretty base loophole, though.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing, government and public, but they
So if the government puts up any sort of political bullshit that you don't like, you can just tear it apart.
and it can't be a hate crime.
It'll just be like vandalism.
Base.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
the
we
bill
all know
these-
how we feel about.
Yeah, so this bill is actually closing that loophole.
Yeah, they want to make sure you can if you,
So where was this? This was...
somewhere where they have rainbow crosswalks.
Yeah, I was going to say this
Yeah.
can't be anywhere around here
Probably
because
South Florida somewhere.
we hate those people. Palm Beach County
Jokes.
sounds like.
Okay.
Speak for yourself, Lucky.
It's,
Yes, that is a joke.
North-South Florida.
I guess with that loophole, you go and just be like, I just hate the fact that the government did this.
Right? Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
probably why it's
Yeah.
why
Like, it
that
has
loophole
nothing-
exists,
right.
right?
It has nothing to do with the gay stuff. I just don't like the fact that there's a rainbow here.
I
put by
don't
the
want my
government.
roads to be made by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen those videos where the police horses are marching and then they get to the rainbow crosswalk and they stop because they're
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
It just spazzes them out. That's awesome.
Horses are based? Question mark.
Always have.
Well, that was a fun little topic.
It's always has been meme.
This is just a honorable mention. Had to bring it up, right?
Yeah.
Should we talk about this or? God, so much COVID talk, man. I'm kind of over it. I'll let you
Yeah.
guys talk about this one if you want. If not,
So yeah, I mean, I guess DeSantis just unveiled a new COVID treatment. It's a monoclonal preemptive treatment. So
right,
it's
this
for
is preventative.
it's for people who are compromised and at risk, and you can take this before you get COVID, and then it reduces your chances of getting it.
This is interesting because this comes on the heels of Dr. Peter McCullough's appearance on Joe Rogan, where he talked about basically since from the start that he was very frustrated that nobody was putting any emphasis on preventative. How do we not prevent people from getting it, but keep people out of the hospital? And I remember when all this kicked off, and obviously all of us were very, hyper focused on the news, and I speak for myself, but I was looking at a lot of the report or the published journals, and some of the data I can't make sense of all of it, but that was something that I also kind of seen a lot of doctors that weren't in the mainstream. An overwhelming majority, you wouldn't think that because of the way that the media covered it, but a lot of doctors were saying this exact same thing that all these doctors were saying, and were demonized. But it's a really interesting that this is coming after that doctor went on Joe Rogan and basically said just that, like, the monoclonal has been proven that it can be a insane preventative and keep people out of the hospital, which is where people are dying from this. So it's interesting. I wonder, I doubt it had any sort of influence, but
this is a new one. So this is not the monoclonal antibody that's been being used for the past 6 months to a year.
That one was administered after you already have COVID.
Yeah, it was within a day, 24 hours, you get it. It's supposed to help you relieve of symptoms. But supposedly...
Right, but it's the same concept.
No, true. But I'm just saying now, this is another one that's being pushed through that's, like you just said, Nick, is more preemptive. So it's, hey, I think he states in the article, it's for elderly people and people who are immune compromised. So you get this now that the Omicron is coming for the, what's the thing in Transformers? The cube? All right. Bunch of nerds. And so instead of waiting till you get this maybe hey, it's Christmas time, I'm going to be around a lot of people, I take this, it preemptively helps me if I get it, it stops the severity of the Omicron COVID. Because supposedly the old monoclonal antibodies is not being as useful with Omicron, supposedly.
Oh.
It's kind of interesting that I'm just kind of skimming over this article again, and they put early data has shown that the new Omicron variant appears less severe but more transmissible. I feel like that's so misleading to say it's less severe. Nobody has died from it.
Yeah.
Still to this day?
Still to this day,
much less severe.
Nobody has died from it.
I thought there was one person, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Not that it matters. One person, right? That's kind of
I'll take them out.
Yeah, like one fart, a popcorn. Fart,
that's the thing is, as far as I know, there's really no way of determining which variant it is, right?
Well, there's that too.
At
right?
the base level. So it's one of those things where I think once you go higher up into actually testing, they have the ability to.
Yeah, you'd have.
But it's not the test you're going to get.
No, not at all.
Right.
I think it's once they've tested Omicron is within a certain area. I think they just blatantly say anybody tested has probably Omicron.
Yeah, which is kind of what happened with
Delta, exactly.
Yeah,
which is everybody's bringing up. I called the people and I asked for Delta. How do you test? They're like, I don't know. We don't fucking do that.
Yeah, anything after the beginning of the summer this year.
Yeah, people were trying to make that point. I'm like,
yeah, that was a very weird point.
Kind of a stupid point.
Yeah,
either you have it or you don't.
Who cares what variant is? But
right.
Yeah. We could even not talk too much, but
so I guess just in the clinical trials, this AstraZeneca monoclonal preventative thing, it reduced the risk of developing COVID in the first place by 77%. So
nice.
That's pretty solid.
Hopefully it's not like
It's
the
better
vaccine.
than the vaccine.
Hopefully it's not like the vaccine just wanes.
Yeah.
Not for the next 6 months.
It's 90% effective. What are you talking about?
But I'm assuming almost most people who listen to us listen to the Rogue Master. And like Nick was saying, it's Peter McCullough.
Yeah, Peter McCullough.
Is he Irish? Because that might change my opinion. But
no, he's American. He's probably of Irish descendants.
But no, that podcast was very good, I think.
Yeah.
And I would have, and I think we even in our little text group, I brought some not even points I disagreed with him, but points I'm like, I kind of wish he wasn't necessarily like this in some ways, and the way he brought up some stuff.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that.
But the main point he brought up, which is ever since the beginning of COVID, not fully correct. After the debacle of ventilators, the idea of prevention just dropped off completely once the vaccine became a thing. And why is that being stopped? And I think that's like a great conversation, agree with them or not, just to have, because if you think about anything, preventive medication is what doctors are for. You don't go to a doctor every year just to fix what you have. It's to prevent things, to catch things before it happens.
You're right.
Yeah, and maybe the best preventative measure for COVID was like staying healthy.
Yeah,
And
becoming
that
healthy.
was not talked about at all.
Yeah.
We did all the opposites. Stay inside, no sunlight, no gym.
Yeah, and even if
And,
Eat ice cream.
yeah, basically, yeah, right.
and he probably discussed this, and they probably discussed this. I don't remember for full fact, but even if ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, and there was that one in the very beginning they used
Remdesivir.
Remdesivir.
Like even those things weren't working to what maybe some people hoped they were. Like, and
They still worked somewhat.
yeah, even if they worked like 2%, isn't that better than someone having to go in a ventilator and die?
And not even that. I mean, fast forward from the point you're talking about, fast forward, now a lot of, like, massive countries are, like, that is their number one form of treatment. Not exactly remdesivir. There were some issues with that, but...
What, hydrochloroquine, ivermectin, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. I think Mexico, that's one of their biggest things is ivermectin. Japan also. There was another one. India. I think there was a fourth that he mentioned, but
I think Africa passed out like ivermectin, like pills or like candy.
Yeah, and there was a lot of weird. I know Peter McCullough was kind of like insinuating that, it like the evidence points to the fact that this was premeditated and they knew about this before it came to be, because a lot of the trials on certain medications and stuff started before we even knew this COVID thing was happening, like as early as like 2016, 2017. With hydrochloroquine, there was one really weird thing that happened that was not in the news at all, and I remember seeing it and posting about it. Either the biggest or the second biggest factory for hydrochloroquine.
oh yeah, that was fucking nuts.
Just burnt to the ground, like in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Was it? Well, it was Taiwan, right? Yeah.
I think it was in Taiwan, yeah. Somewhere in Southeast Asia there. But, yeah, it was pretty odd. It was, like, right at the beginning of COVID. As soon as hydrochloroquine was kind of gaining traction and Trump was talking about it, it was, like, a couple weeks later, this factory just burnt to the ground.
Yeah, he even brought up, which is kind of like, it's a point I would bring up, is, like, it's not very necessary to bring this up because it doesn't really bolster his stance, and it probably pushes some people away.
Yeah.
He brought up the whole bleach part that Trump was talking about, remember?
Yeah, but that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where, like, it makes sense that when he says it, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like, you're going to turn so many people off just bringing that up.
Right.
It's like if someone's, like, on the fence, it could be one of those things like, all right, dude.
That was when he was talking about the nasal swab, right?
Yeah, the nasal swish or whatever.
Yeah. It was basically like a mouthwash for your nose that was supposed to kill any potential COVID particulate that was
sterilize or whatever.
Right. But he said that he's seen like great success in his own personal clinic from it. Yeah, his own personal use of it. So I mean,
that's interesting.
But apparently that method, whatever I wish I remember what it was called, has been used for a very long time. That's not something very new.
It's like a neti pot, right? Pretty much.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where now it's, especially since Trump brought it up, and he said it very poorly, Trump did. Yeah. It's one of those things people are just like scoff at now.
Yeah, like, tell him to drink bleach.
Oh, I got bleach.
Or hydroxychloroquine too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought if he failed anywhere, it was bringing up like Tucker Carlson and stuff like that. I'm like, you don't have to mention that you were on that show. You know what I'm saying? Not that it bothered me.
Right. Yeah, it's going to turn certain people
exactly.
away.
I'm like, don't like connect yourself to anybody political.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you have to play the game.
What something that I kind of took away from it is how strong the propaganda machine is, because you'll have this doctor who, for all intents and purposes, has the exact same qualifications as someone like, let's say, Dr. Fauci,
Except he's actually been practicing.
Except he's
actually
actually right. So he's probably even more qualified. But he'll spend 3 hours on Joe Rogan with his iPad in front of him, citing, names, the study, the university it was done at, the lab it was, whatever it was. Like, he'll very specifically source all of these, data points and conclusions and all these things to support his claims that he's making. And then all it will take is for some dickhead, some corporate sponsored dickhead to get on the news and be like,
Sanjay Gupta.
yeah, this dog doesn't know what he's talking about, and not have to cite anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy just spent 3 hours,
listen to Big Bird instead.
Yeah, listen to Big Bird and Elmo.
Or the acapella group that was just on.
Yeah,
Oh,
and the
God.
White House posted that acapella group thing.
Oof.
Oh my
Sketch.
god!
But it was nice at the end of the Joe Rogan podcast with what's the guy's name?
Peter McCullough.
Yeah, Peter McCullough.
Dr. McCullough.
It seems like it's whiskey hour.
Yeah, he Joe did bring up the fact. He's like, "Hey, would you be willing to talk to somebody who's against who disagree?"
That was cool.
So who knows? We might. More than likely, it's not going to happen.
That would be cool if Sanjay Gupta had the balls to come.
Sanjay Gupta
he
is
never will.
Yeah,
not
he'll
allowed to
never-
leave Georgia ever.
He'll
again.
never get on Rogan.
He only went on Rogan one-on-one with Rogan because he thinks he can outsmart Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that was like a I still think that Sanjay Gupta and whoever his handlers are, whether he has them or not, the people that he's involved with.
Oh, it's CNN. No, for sure. He
Well,
works for
yeah,
CNN.
namely CNN. I think for sure it was supposed to be he was going to go on there and, air quotes, school Joe Rogan, right? And be like, look, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, And I think the interview got away from him. I think they underestimated how intelligent and I'm trying really hard not to suck Joe Rogan's dick here, but
His big old horse dick.
Yeah, his big old horse ivermectin cock.
You don't have to. He can suck it himself.
Basically. No, but I genuinely think that it was supposed to be something for him to go on, make Joe Rogan look like a fool so he can go on CNN the next week and be like, look, see, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he
still
look, all these
basically-
points.
still
Well, yeah, he
basically
tried.
did that.
He
Yeah.
tried to, right?
But it didn't
But I
work
think,
out.
I definitely think they underestimated his ability to ask legitimate questions, tough questions.
And he doesn't let you. He doesn't let you skirt around his question.
No.
If you don't answer his question,
He's like, "Answer this."
He's gonna. Yeah, he's
Right.
gonna keep coming after you till you answer it.
And you saw that exactly what you just said. You saw that in that interview. He's like, I'm not going to let you skate by this question. You have to answer it.
Yeah, this is a 3-hour interview,
Yeah.
motherfucker. We got all the time in the world.
Right. And one thing I appreciate about Dr. Peter McCullough, I know, people will say what they'll say. Joe Rogan kept asking him, and I think he was looking for some sort of conspiratorial answer. And he didn't give it to him. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He's like, I really can't say if it's all, for some giant thing. He's like, but all the data seems to suggest that everything kind of leads to the vaccine. So he's like, I'm not saying for sure, but that's just what it seems like.
That was one of the things that I think helped.
He did
boost,
right.
Yeah, it boosted his credibility quite a bit. The fact that he never gave the impression he was talking out of his ass during that interview. Everything that he spoke in absolutes about, he had concrete, credible evidence to back it up. And everything that he wasn't sure about, he was totally honest about the fact that he wasn't 100% sure about it.
And even we had mentioned that the ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine factory burnt down. He, even after mentioning that, he kind of said I'm not necessarily insinuating anything. I don't know if this means anything, but it was just kind of bizarre that it happened.
Yeah, the timing.
Literally months before.
Yeah.
It was pretty weird.
Almost got the cactus.
What?
So you almost got cactied.
Yeah, I don't know
Trying to give me
whose
a little bit.
I don't know whose idea it was
No.
to.
Oh, it got me earlier, bro.
I don't know whose idea it was to put a cactus in the middle of the table while we're drinking.
You know what? It's
750.
It's just part of it.
We talk about this every 5 episodes.
29 episodes in, and we still just, we're still rolling with the cactus.
Yeah, it's kind of fun though. I think it adds a nice dynamic.
It's cactus roulette in here.
Cactus roulette.
Gotta make sure you really want that whiskey before
That's
you
it.
reach for it.
Yeah, it's not like you got to make an effort.
It
to
also
not
makes
get
you pay
cacti.
attention so you don't pull a nick and spill the whiskey all
All
over
right,
the
listen
fucking-
here. It was one fucking time. It could have been any of you. The
But it
fucking the mixer's in front of me, so it just
Look at him.
happened.
He's got his glass right up against it. Look
It's
at
just, it's just chill. It's just waiting for that tip. It's like I want to get in that motherfucking mixer one more time.
I'm really happy we didn't have to buy a new one.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Well, I didn't have to buy a new one.
I know,
Yeah.
especially with this
So-
supply shortage.
So I guess before we move on to Assange, I just wanted to bring up this last little mini topic, and it's pretty much just gonna be a statement. We don't really have to get in a conversation about it, but all the New Yorkers are moving down to Florida. It's
They are.
crazy, and even New York Giants Hall of Fame linebacker Lawrence Taylor moved down to Florida to Broward County, and apparently he failed to.
That's a
register.
good county for him.
Yeah. And apparently he failed to register as a sex offender and was arrested for it. So
Big oof in the chat.
Broward is Melbourne area.
No, it's Brevard.
no,
That's
that's
Brevard.
Brevard. Yeah,
Yeah,
Broward
Broward,
is
Miami.
south.
Like, yeah, okay.
It's where the
I always mix those two up.
Parkland shooting happened.
Mm.
So for any New York Giants fans out there, come get your boy. Okay.
Yeah, let's
so
jump into this this big spicy boy.
Spicy. Yeah. So Julian Assange, who is the founder of WikiLeaks.
Yep.
And for people who might need a refresher on what that is, they released hundreds of thousands of documents, some of which contained evidence of U.S. and British war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they were heavily criticized for that. I know a lot of people in the U.S., military people and stuff were not happy with him and Snowden and those types of people because the way they viewed it, some of these leaks were putting American soldiers at risk because, it was telling the truth about what they were doing there. Not all of them, but, some of them. And so, yeah, it was kind of a big controversy with that. But one of the most important, I don't know about most important because I think the war crime stuff is probably more important, but one of the more public and controversial things that he did was he released Hillary Clinton's emails, which led to a whole,
That was
shit
essentially the birth of QAnon, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. And then Seth Rich was murdered, and that's still kind of up in the air whether that was a WikiLeaks source. That's one of the things Julian Assange is very adamant about is he doesn't talk about who his sources are, and so even if he's dead, he's not gonna reveal whether he was a source or not. But he did in an interview insinuate that he was a source because he said that when people see things like what happened to Seth Rich, their sources, they get worried, and then this prevents WikiLeaks from doing what they do and getting sources to cooperate and give them info on some of these important things that are happening, such as war crimes. And the reporter kind of pushed him on that and said, so are you implying that he was a source? And he was like, no, we don't comment on our sources, but when things like this happen,
Yeah, I mean, when your source is dead.
Yeah. So that's kind of the quick, rough and dirty background of, who Julian Assange is and what, why the world governments are after him.
And he's been in hiding in England?
Yeah, so he was in England, and once he found out the authorities were after him, he fled to the Ecuadorian embassy in London. And he was there for, I think, years, like a year or two. And one of the things that was happening while he was there was that, this is something that's just coming to the surface, and this is what I believe not Michael Isikoff, someone else.
Pompeo?
Blumenthal,
Okay.
Michael Blumenthal from the Gray Zone. He wrote an article about the CIA and how they were plotting to get Julian Assange out of the embassy, like, illegally. Because the British or the Ecuadorian embassy was refusing to cooperate. They weren't going to extradite him. And so then they were trying to get the British government to somehow use their authority to get him out of the embassy and then extradite him to the U.S., and that wasn't working out. So there was supposedly a plot in the CIA to get Assange out of there. And one of the things they did was this company UC Global, which is a Spanish private security firm, which is hired by the Ecuadorian embassy to provide security for their embassy. The CIA infiltrated them and basically got, they were basically spying on Assange while he was in the embassy. So at the very least, they had video and audio footage of the inside of the embassy while Julian Assange was there. So that was kind of a controversial thing going on. But in the end, Julian Assange ended up being taken out of the embassy by British authorities. So now he's in the custody of the British authorities. It's been over a year, I believe. And now, just this past couple of weeks, the British High Court ruled that the U.S.'s conditions and their assurances of their proper treatment of Assange, if he were to be extradited, were sufficient. And so they ruled that the request for extradition would be approved and that he would be sent to the U.S. to be put on trial. And, a lot of people think that's going to be the death of him, which is very possible. But
understandably so.
Yeah, and so Assange appealed. He's going to appeal the process or the decision, coming up now. He already put in the request to appeal, so it's not done yet. But
and is Assange an American citizen?
He's an Australian.
Yeah, let's say. Well, obviously, he has an accent, but I wasn't sure if he had dual citizenship or.
I'm not sure if he has multiple citizenships. I don't think he has an American citizenship. He's definitely Australian.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just, before we even get into that, that's just weird that America can even do that to a non-U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty wild because, if anything, you would think he would be being extradited to his home country, Australia, for trial, but no. Considering I'm pretty sure he exposed a lot of war crimes on Australia's part as well.
I mean, how much Australia's a bunch of cucks, so I'm sure they don't care.
Yeah, they love committing war crimes, though.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, join the club.
I like all those Special Force meme pages that post, memes about the Australian guys just killing people because they want to.
Man,
I mean, just for fun. Just for fun, eh, mate?
And
I'm gonna smoke this cunt.
Yeah.
Maybe even to say one more thing before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video that we watched and general Assange stuff. It's crazy that right now in America we have the Ghislaine Maxwell case going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of a pedophile ring, island, entrapment.
They're deliberating on that currently.
Human trafficking. And more than likely, she's going to get off with a very light, whatever you want to call a tap on the wrist, whatever it may be. That's what it looks like.
Mm.
And, again, pedophilia ring.
Call it what it is.
Yeah, it's a pedophilia ring. She's probably going to get off light. Assange just showed the war crimes that were being done to, some people of... Some would call it terrorists, and a lot of them were just citizens of a country.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to get killed.
Mm.
And a lot of what the war crimes he showed were American soldiers protecting pedophiles in those countries.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy.
That's one of the crazy things about the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan specifically is that, a lot of these tribal people that we were... Protecting, yeah.
We were their security forces.
We were basically security for their pedophile rings.
Their fuckboy.
Yeah.
Literally, they would bring children and just fuck them.
Yeah, there was one incident where a Iraqi came into a Marine barracks, into their gym, and killed 2 or 3 Marines. And, it was in the media, it was all reported as, a terrorist came in and killed 3 Marines. But if you look deeper into that, the reason why he did it was because he was the victim of sexual assault by the commander of one of the tribes that the U.S. was protecting. And he was raped repeatedly by this guy. And I guess he got away, and then they brought him back. The U.S. brought him back to, like, get raped more. And so he, took a gun and went into a barracks and killed a bunch of guys.
And a lot of this news is hard for people to believe, I guess.
It's hard to wrap your mind around it.
Right, but
we're so far removed.
Yeah, we're so far removed, but then I just challenge you to remember back to when we literally blew up a car with a bunch of kids in it, and nobody was held accountable.
And that was just a couple months ago.
That was in September, and not only was nobody held accountable, but the guy who said this is fucked, we need accountability, he was like completely shut out of everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He lost all of his benefits. It's just, I don't know how you can see some of the things that we're doing and then not believe these kind of stories when they're well documented.
You don't have to not believe them.
Yeah, it's not even a matter of believing. This is all documented shit.
A lot of these videos that WikiLeaks released are, you can find them online. One of the more, I guess, popular the ones that made the biggest waves was this video of an Apache helicopter attack on a suspected terrorist van. And, they shot up this van and, just kids started, crawling out of this van. It was just, filled with, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds.
Yeah, and the audio, the audio from that is, pretty terrible.
Yeah, because
the soldiers are just
totally, nonchalantly.
Ruthless.
And the guy was like, oh, shit, I think there's some kids in there. And he's like,
light it up.
That's war, or something like that. And then, they're like, all right, light it up. And, they fucking just shot it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and for me, this
after
was
they knew, on audio, they knew that there was kids in there.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And for me, me stating the pedophilia versus Assange thing, it's just to paint this picture before we go more in detail. Is the fact that as a country, and I will use the we because unfortunately our tax dollars pay for all this, we're willing to protect the pedophiles, the people who fuck children, bring these kids to places to be fucked. We'll protect those people who do all these things, protect the soldiers that protect the tribes of countries we take over, but we'll kill the people who release these things.
Yeah.
It's just fucked up on so many levels.
Yeah, there's definitely a strong push to protect the secrecy of the things that we do that are terrible.
The terrible thing.
This is another total fucking tangent, but the recent story that came out of the CNN.
The guy
CNN,
that wasn't
reporter,
reported
he was
on
a
by anybody.
Videographer or something working for CNN.
I think he was a producer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he was pretty high up, and he had worked for Fox News before and a bunch of other news stations, but he worked for CNN currently. John Griffin. Yeah.
And there was another woman that was involved with him, also. CNN,
so the
right?
FBI knew about this.
Yes.
And they never pursued it, but yet they're pursuing fucking converting retarded kids into domestic terrorists. That's their shtick.
Yeah.
So they have time for that, but they don't have time to go after this guy who's paying mothers to bring their 14-year-old daughters.
No, and that's another really good point because, again, the people that can't believe this, just remember back to the fact that the FBI basically tricked a guy into sawing a shotgun to an illegal length, and then they killed his son and shot his pregnant wife in front of him.
Yeah,
at Ruby Ridge. It's like they're willing to do these things. Randy Weaver, yeah, they're willing to do these things to these people, and then all of a sudden it's so hard to believe that we're protecting tribal leaders in Afghanistan in their sex ring. Yeah. It's just retarded to believe that, or to not believe it, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's all documented. So
yeah, and that too.
Which is crazy.
What's your source? A .gov website.
Well,
not really.
I don't know if there's...
So Assange.
Yeah, Assange. What else do we have to say about Assange? I know... So, one of the big dangers of what's happening right now is that they're basically labeling anybody who is like a independent journalist and comes up with sources on their own outside of the established, big media organizations, they're kind of labeling them as like basically terrorists. At
the very least, traitors, right?
Yeah, what Mike Pompeo said about Assange whenever he was going after him is he said he labeled WikiLeaks a non-state hostile intelligence service. So listen, like a news agency is essentially an intelligence service. I mean,
yeah.
It's not in the sense of like the military intelligence service. They use that word because they try to invoke some sort of reaction out of people. But, that's what it is they gather intelligence and give it to the public.
Because all intelligence is just information.
Right.
That's all it is.
And also they called them information brokers. That was like kind of a term they tried to use during the Obama days to try.
Well, yeah, it was try to insinuate that they're traders trying to sell information.
Right.
And so, these are all terms and steps that they're taking to limit the abilities of real journalists from doing their job and finding information about our government that we should know, and preventing them from releasing that to the public under threat of fucking lifetime in prison or whatever.
Drone strike to your fucking house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's I'm glad you brought that out, Chris. That's such a good point. I mean, one of the things like that I was thinking about is like a lot of the stuff that WikiLeaks broke, like New York Times and all these like big corporate media places. These were all their biggest stories. They all did big stories on all these videos and all these things that got released. But now they're nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. When this guy is getting indicted and going to end up with a 150-year sentence in prison,
Yeah.
And it's like, it just goes to show you that like the media's changed. The fact that there's a Democrat in office matters that much. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like they're nowhere to be found now. They're not saying anything about this. You don't see any coverage from New York Times on Assange right now. Anything. It's all like kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, nobody's talking about it at all.
No.
And yeah, I think there's a reason for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, kind of like you said, Cameron. It's one of those things where it's an easier way to see now how the corporate media. There's that divide, right, between the independent journalists, which if you're into like the podcast sphere, like I'm sure which I know we all are, but like the Greenwalds, Taibis, there's a couple other. There's a woman I can't remember her name.
The one that lives in.
Somewhere in Central
She's been
America.
on Tim Dillon. Yeah, I know.
So again, there's some great ones out there who probably don't agree with us on most of what we have to say, but when it comes to the empire stuff, which is the American empire, they're
Whitney Webb.
Yeah, they're great on it. Yeah. And all these people have, brought up every time they have a platform to speak about this is, if you're not speaking what the corporate message wants you to speak, which is the corporate press, you're just immediately labeled as like a fucking lunatic, alt-right, bigot, and they just throw everything in the book at you, so people won't believe what you're saying, even if you have actual sources and documents to bring it up.
So I think this brings up the point that Chris just made, but just to clarify and bring it back around, is what does this mean for like actual independent journalism? It means like you have to tread really lightly if you're not falling in line, right?
Yeah. Isn't that why I think I don't know. There's more than I just stated, but I think out of the 4, half of them live in different countries.
Yeah,
one's in Brazil. I think one's in. Somewhere very close to that.
Yeah, and really the only reason Glenn Greenwald is safe in Brazil is because his husband is like a high-ranking government official in Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy, man. I don't even know. It's one of those things where
we definitely have to bring up the fact that like the CIA like had a plan to assassinate him, right?
Yeah. So there was I mean, this article is saying that basically they had plans to either kidnap or possibly poison him.
Right.
This is based on sources within the CIA, I guess.
Right.
And, I mean, these are all anonymous sources, so it's kind of hard to,
Completely
judge
verify.
whether this is true or not. I obviously wouldn't put it past them, but...
Well, I mean, you don't have to take too many steps of believability to believe this, because I can't, off the top of my head, remember the Middle Eastern country that killed the journalist in their,
Oh yeah, what's his name?
frick.
The guy they sold up.
Oh,
and
Saudi
brought out
Arabia?
back.
Yeah, they killed a journalist.
Yeah, they just
Once he
straight
stepped on-
whack journalists left and right.
And it's like, yeah, we can say, oh, well, that's Saudi Arabia. Like, they're crazy, But fucking,
It's,
we bomb children in school buses and,
and also Saudi Arabia is like arguably, I mean, other than Israel, is probably our most closest ally, our government's closest ally
yeah.
in the Middle East.
So it's not too many steps to remove yourself to believe that American government would do this as well.
Yeah,
Right.
which kind of brings you to another point: the fact that the British government is willing to just, extradite Assange over to the United States. Like, you're kind of giving over your prisoner to the executioner.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if they're willing to kill him, and so the only reason I brought this up is because in the court hearing there was a bunch of assurances about
how they're going to treat him.
and how they're going to treat him. Like, they're not going to put him in certain prisons because
Yeah.
his health concerns, because he had a stroke recently. And, I mean, it looks pretty rough, the guy.
Yeah.
But they have all these different assurances, and it's what does that matter? If somebody was planning to kill you, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing the Trump hands over here, but
All of a sudden, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna take care of him."
yeah, and they're like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable.
It reminds me of Governor Northam when they were talking, the Virginia governor, when they were talking about abortion, and he's like, "Yeah, we take real good care of them. We take real
Yeah.
good care of them." It's like, wait, what? You literally kill them.
But once they're
No.
dead,
We take them in another room and we take good care of them.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
god,
okay.
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So you take care of the dead fetus? I'm confused what you're trying to
Right.
insinuate here.
And,
Sorry, I just wanted
Very
to
good.
mention another good source for this kind of stuff that I follow on a lot of accounts is Caitlin Johnstone. She's a pretty good independent journalist. She's kind of a commie and a leftist, but other than that, she's pretty good on foreign policy stuff. Her
Yeah.
domestic policy stuff. Is
I feel like that's what you get though with a lot of foreign policy, because our
Yeah.
foreign policy is so fucked, and so many Republicans are
Well,
so.
the commies are kind of on the ball with the whole foreign policy. What's it called? They would have it right on the tip of their tongue, but whatever.
Cock.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Foreign policy cock.
Yeah. Pretty accurate.
Imperialization.
oh, imperial,
maybe?
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So they've always been on the ball with that kind of stuff. So they're pretty good with this kind of reporting. But yeah,
Oh,
I don't
here's
know.
that Apache helicopter shooting.
Yeah, I watched that earlier. God, it's gnarly.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a bad one.
Yeah, it's
the
gnarly.
audio of those those soldiers talking about it as it's happening is pretty fucked up.
I know. As libertarians, this, WikiLeaks is such a great thing for us because we look at it as finally people be able to look outside of the box and out of the corporate media and be like,
See the
this
truth.
is actually what's happening, the actual truth.
Yeah.
So obviously we're on Assange. Am I saying that right?
Assange.
Assange.
His side. You know what I'm saying? With WikiLeaks and things like that, man. Because people gotta see what actually happens.
Yeah.
And they can't just write it off as a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy, but when you watch it with your eyes and it's it's not a conspiracy. You're looking at it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and the propaganda machine has gotten so good to the point where they're having people second guess what they're seeing with their own eyes.
Mhm.
So even when you see these videos, you're like, yeah, but where did this video come from? It's like, bro, what the fuck do you mean? Where did
we
this
need
video
more
come from?
context.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely that, and there's also I think it's the sad truth to a great degree is the fact that a lot of people they see this and even if they believe they're like, why do I care?
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
another problem, right? It's the price of war, as the Republicans say.
Well, yeah, it's the price of war. It's the price of me being able to buy gas. It's the price of me, all these things they make up in their head that they needs to happen so they can live in a free America,
Well,
which is such bullshit.
It is such a bullshit.
Well, you're just being totally apathetic towards the truth. If you want to live in a world where
That's okay to you?
and you don't want to recognize it as like a reality, then you're just apathetic towards it, and you're just like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any feelings about it, which is, honestly, probably the worst way to live.
Yeah,
if I'm going to be honest.
I think for certain people, seeing the video and seeing the proof is going to change their mind. So that's why WikiLeaks was definitely so important. But yeah, there's always going to be those, those people that don't give a shit. They're just like,
Yeah.
can't accept that, you know, my government would do something that's not for my benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, and this court hearing ended at the same time it was ending. There was it was like the National Press Day, Freedom of Press Day, and they were having all these different Biden was on a democracy, international democracy call, and all these things were happening.
It's like a human rights day.
Yeah, Human Rights Day. Yeah, and it's like what does this actually mean for freedom of press? I mean, I know we and other podcasts like Rogan and other ones out there, but
other ones around on our level.
Yeah.
Yeah, on our level, with the same amount of listeners.
Rogan's probably the closest to our level.
Yeah.
He's a little beneath us, but
man, I'm stuffy. I feel like
height and
I was just
viewership-wise.
looking at the thing. I'm like, you sound a little off. I think it's just your fucked up.
I think my nose is messed up.
Yeah, you're good.
COVID.
Keep going, though.
It's COVID.
You're in a good point.
It's probably just Omicron over here.
Omicron.
I gotta look this up.
But I don't even know where I was going. Oh, yeah, I don't know. No,
Nice.
I lost my train of thought.
Nice. That's
Oh
good.
no! What does it actually mean for freedom of press? Oh no! What I was bringing up is the fact that there's this push for real journalism, but if you can't really be a real journalist, it's like it's like one of those things. We want people to go out, be independent, go out to the government, call them out on the things that they do, but are you able? I mean, are you able to do that without ending up in a position where you
have to live in another country?
Yeah, or all of a sudden, all of a sudden, just end up committing suicide for no reason. I mean, if there's that much risk,
Why the fuck?
Can you blame people, or why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah, and it's. I'm glad you bring up Biden, especially what you mentioned. How it's unfortunate, not unfortunate, but how it just happened to fall in these days, where it's all these human rights and things like that. And people will be like, if you're listening to this, you're like, oh yeah, fuck Biden. This is, he's not doing anything to help Assange. But neither did Trump.
Right.
And you can always bash on that. And then
Trump kind of was the one who ratcheted up the, the mission against Assange.
Mm-hmm.
That was as soon as he came in office, he put Pompeo in charge of the CIA, and that's the first thing they did was they went after Assange.
Pompeo had a hard dick for Assange.
Oh yeah,
but. And you could take the Trump angle, which is, Trump didn't help the situation at all. And like you said, he made it worse by putting Pompeo in charge of the CIA. And I would come to believe that Trump just doesn't give a fuck. He probably doesn't give two shits about Assange. He probably doesn't know who Assange is for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, they bring it up to him. And like, I think in a couple of those talks that Pompeo did, he brought up Trump in those speeches a couple times, saying Trump backed the force that we can use and all that stuff. And I would just imagine Trump could give two shits.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Like Trump, Trumpers are out there and they love him. Great. Just know Trump gives two shits about you. He's a very selfish person. Like, he can be right in some things and still be a prick,
Yeah, let's not ignore the fact that he had a chance to pardon Snowden and Assange, and instead he pardoned Lil Wayne, I believe.
Maybe not Lil Wayne, but someone like that. It might have been him. But yeah, exactly. He had the ability to do that. And then obviously you can, bring even back farther and say Obama was the worst when it came to cracking down on journalists, right? That's what he's known for in the liberty movement.
Yeah.
For the most part, besides his war crimes, which every president is known for in liberty movement. But, has the worst track record, I think, when it comes to prosecuting journalists.
Yeah. Exactly.
And to think, and you could be like I'm just going to play devil's advocate going down the line. You could be like, oh, well, yeah, Trump, Trump wasn't as bad. George W. Bush would have done the same thing. Like, keep going down for the next, 50 years, it would have been the same.
Right.
Like, they all would just grind those people to the ground.
Yeah, because no matter what, these type of people, Assange, Snowden, they are a threat to the empire, and they are the empire. Yeah. They are the president. They're the president of the empire.
Yep.
No matter how you look at it, if somebody's willing to put themselves in that chair, they are now a part of the empire.
Well, imagine the pressure you must get from the entire empire to prosecute these people and get rid of them, because there's so many people that they're, in some way incriminating or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
like Epstein or whatever, who all of a sudden killed themselves.
And one of the things that they were saying about Assange was, because basically what they were worried about was that Assange would plan an escape from the Ecuadorian embassy when he was still there. And they were saying that Russia was planning on helping him do that and then harboring him, and basically their evidence for that was that they had been harboring Snowden, and that, so, obviously they were going to do it again. There was no evidence that they were planning any of that, but the CIA had a whole freaking, plan laid out for what they were going to do in this case, and, all sorts of, Jason Bourne shit. They were going to have a shootout on in the streets of London. They were going to, if he got on a plane, they were going to position helicopters in front of the plane to prevent it from taking off. They had a whole plan set up to prevent him from leaving the Ecuadorian embassy. So he was basically in prison when he was there. And then he got sent to I believe it's England's most strict maximum security penitentiary, Belmarsh. And yeah, so he was there. He's still there. He's losing his fucking mind, according to doctors there. And and I just pulled up an article on the Gray Zone talking about documents that were released showing how Australia was cooperating with the U.S. and the UK to suppress any news about Assange and to get him extradited to the U.S. to be put on trial.
Yeah, reading this article, and it's saying that it got to the point where while he was at the embassy, basically every person within a 3 or 4 mile radius, whether it was a street sweeper, delivery guy, they were all informed. They were all involved with the intelligence agency to try and keep him where he was.
It was just the Truman Show for Assange.
Yeah,
essentially.
They're terrified of this guy, huh?
How much money did they waste?
Right, and that's also something to kind of keep in mind, and is a good point. It's they're willing to go to this extent to keep this guy.
This isn't
from cheap. Right, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. They're going to this extent to keep this guy from being free and able to share more information or be accessible. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. One interview that I saw, I think it was in the video that I sent you guys. There was a guy who is close to Assange. I think he might have worked for WikiLeaks. But he was talking about how apparently Trump offered him a pardon. And he refused it. And the reason that he refused it was because Trump told him that maybe not Trump, maybe, the advisor or the people below Trump that were talking to Assange or whatever. But it was coming from Trump. They told him that he needed to turn over who his source was for the Hillary Clinton emails. And the reason for that was because Trump was being caught up in this Russian collusion shit. And one of the things that they were using against him was that these Hillary Clinton emails were leaked to WikiLeaks by the Russians, supposedly.
Right.
And so that was what was being used as evidence that Trump was colluding with Russia, that, the Russians helped him get elected by releasing these Hillary Clinton emails. And so that was proof that, Russia was on Trump's side, and therefore Trump was a Russian asset. And so he was looking to,
squash that.
Yeah, vindicate himself. and so they wanted Assange to release who the real source was, and Assange refused to do that because that goes against his principles.
Another
of how
prime
he set up WikiLeaks.
Another prime example of why Trump doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, and,
right.
And how Assange is, apparently a pretty stand-up guy from all.
Right. Yeah, and that's a huge argument from the right is that Trump was like, for the people. He was against the establishment. He wasn't an establishment, whatever. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but at the end of the day, the guy would have done anything to fucking clear himself or put himself forward. Like,
Oh, dude, he's about himself.
100%.
Because a later interview with the Yahoo journalist or whatever, he brought up the fact that he thinks that Assange was treated unfairly.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You literally had the chance to pardon the guy, and you didn't. So, what are you talking about? How can you even say that?
Yeah.
It's like, why? But now it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
He's not the president, so...
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that the guy is about himself.
Well, and that's another good point to bring up about Republicans. It's like, they'll say all this shit while they're not in office, then the second they're in office, it's like, besides the fact. They don't give a fuck about that anymore.
No. That's it.
As with any politician, they'll mention all these things to get in, and then once they're in there...
Like, where's that universal health
Much
care?
like...
Yeah, like
much like a
AOC and her
fuckboy.
universal health care.
They'll say anything to get up in them draws.
Or Biden,
Then once they there,
Biden's going to eliminate, the first $5,000 of your school debt or whatever.
Oh, yeah, he came out and said that that's not going to happen.
And he's like, that's not going to happen.
He's like, I looked into it, and we actually own all that debt, so you guys gotta fucking pay it back.
Whoopsie. All those silly folks that voted for him.
Imagine that meeting while Biden's saying all this shit. Then, all the people that are in charge of that come into his office. They're like, hey, listen.
You can't do that.
You know all that student loan you want to cancel? That's all our fucking money. So, you sure about that?
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Let's pedal that back. 'Cause that's not going to happen.
Let's be honest. They walked in and like, you're not doing that.
Yeah. And he was like, huh? It's Easter? Okay.
And he's like, they just hand him the ice cream cone. He's like,
shits his pants, and then he's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, right.
In the Vatican.
He's like, wait, what? You want me to make a press release saying that unvaccinated people are going to die this Christmas?
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then they hand him his ice cream cone. That's
Yes.
right, bro.
Speaking of Joe Biden, I sent you a photo today. I was at 7-Eleven, and some guy at the gas pump in front of me had a sticker on his tailgate that said, Joe and the hoe have got to go.
Yeah.
Joe and the hoe.
And there was this family that was all wearing masks coming out of 7-Eleven, staring at it, just
perplexed, like,
Dude, Floridians
coming to Florida.
Yeah, dude, Floridians and their bumper stickers and flags and
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Florida loves their stickers.
they like their stickers, bro. They
That's
like
alright,
them.
guys.
They don't like actually doing anything.
No, yeah.
They like posting their stuff on Instagram and
That's
Facebook.
what they like doing.
Putting fucking
Hey,
And put a
Joe
flag
and
up.
the hoe got to go.
flag ground, baby.
Low ground.
Flag out.
It's out live.
Oh man, but yeah. So hopefully Assange, his appeal works. It probably will not, and in a year's time he'll probably be dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I guess so. There had been I think there was a ruling before when he was in the Ecuadorian embassy. I could be totally wrong about the pre part to this. I believe there was a ruling that he was going to be extradited, and then it went to appeals, and the judge ruled against it as a female judge. And so apparently now it's going to the same court, but the female judge that ruled against it, she's been promoted. She's in a different court now, so now it's a different person there. So,
Classic.
So yeah.
I'd be interested because Candace Owen apparently just did an interview with Donald Trump, and apparently that was one question that people really wanted her to ask, and I think she did about why he didn't or why he chose not to. Why he chose not to pardon these people, and I think that's something that we should probably watch over the next week.
Yeah. And I'm sure he blamed it on somebody.
I'm sure that explanation is just
Like, oh, well, I wanted to, but,
the swamp monsters.
Yeah. Drain it.
He's like,
We couldn't drain it all the way.
We need a sump
he's
pump.
like, it's crazy. I put all the people in power that are part of the swamp, and the swamp never got drained.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what's so weird?
I took out the sub pump, and the water kept coming in.
Yeah. Basically, what we're getting at is if you voted for Trump this time, you're a retard. First time, we'll give you that.
Yeah.
Now, you're a retard.
I mean, granted, didn't really have the best track record. I mean, not track options, right?
Right.
Oh, you're one of them?
Well, I mean, you could not vote, which is perfectly fine with me. Don't do it. But if you're going to vote, it's like, fucking vote Biden, vote Trump, or vote for what's-her-face.
Yeah, she blundered that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I mean...
Regardless,
I think we should normalize not voting, though.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Did you voted?
Yeah.
You voted for Trump?
I did.
Yeah. Did you vote?
Yeah.
You did? Did you vote for Trump?
This time?
Yeah.
No.
Who'd you vote for? Me? You voted?
I
You
voted
penciled
for-
me in?
Yeah, I said
My guy.
Nick LaRosa.
My guy.
Harambe?
Yeah, Harambe.
Yeah, no, I didn't vote this time. I voted for Trump in 2016, though.
I did.
And
I
was
did
very...
too.
I did it in 2016.
I stayed up to watch that election results, and it was like one of the fucking
Yeah, that was a
happiest-
highlight of the
one of the
century.
happiest nights of my life. Even though I wasn't like, you know, that like I liked Trump, but I wasn't like, you know, super crazy about him, but I just absolutely loved every second of that night.
Keep
That
in
was
mind, Chris is
hilarious.
married, has 4 kids, and won the lottery, and that was the happiest night of his life.
And I'm also homeless.
Yeah.
He's at a roller coaster of a life over
Thanks,
there. Chris.
Biden. But,
Yeah.
I'm going to get so many texts. Chris has kids?
Yeah.
No one cares that he's
Why have we
homeless.
never
Yeah.
seen them?
yeah.
Where's Chris's kids at?
I mean, let's just say
They're in a foster home.
Yeah.
they're better off.
I didn't say he kept them. I'm just saying he has them.
Hey, he didn't kill him.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm happy.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not into abortion.
Kill the
But I'll
kids.
just put them in foster.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's not an abortion, but he'll fucking beat the shit out of them. They'll sleep in the dirt, but no. Chris is a great
Target. That dirt in front of Target's mighty comfortable.
Dude, he's getting wild these days, man.
dude.
Chris?
Every now and then I see it when he's out there with the sign. People are talking to him.
Sometimes he's not even there, and his time's there.
Yeah,
I'm always like, where is he?
Wow.
he's in.
You know where he's at? He's in Panera.
Yeah, Panera getting his free
Yeah,
coffee.
he's got he's part of the coffee club.
Oh, yeah.
The dude just drinks coffee all day.
Nice.
Smokes a little crack, and then he stands
That's what
outside
I'm
with a
talking
sign.
about. Coffee
I mean-
and crack. That's all you need.
Yeah.
2 C's.
It's not a bad life.
You can see on that guy's body. That's what he lives off of.
Yeah.
That's the, you know, when they say, like, triple C's, coffee, crack, cocaine.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
there
that
you
guy's
go.
lifestyle. Lifestyle.
Yeah. We should do an interview with him.
I feel like we keep saying we got to do all these interviews
We're
with
talking
people,
about 'em right here.
and
Is
we
it-
never do.
Yeah, we could get like a even our phone mic would probably work. Just walk up to him. He'd talk. I've seen him talk to people
Get a
for
recording of them like on the side of the road.
a lot.
We should do it.
That guy will. I mean, that guy will talk as long as you want him to.
Yeah,
Let's wait until constitutional carry comes out so I can have my sawed-off shotgun just in case.
Yeah.
He says some, you know, he gets a little rowdy.
Tries to eat your face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just fucking pump 2 right in his chest and detach his chest from his arms and legs and head.
just clearly cut him in half.
On then
Yeah.
Instagram, you just post. You're welcome.
People of Vero Beach,
No,
we got him.
it's the
We got
if you
Oh,
know,
no.
if you know, you know.
yeah, the bush.
It's
Ladies
done.
and gentlemen, we got him.
It's done.
I love that meme.
It is done.
All right, guys. Well,
Well, I'm glad we ended with killing that guy.
yeah. I guess maybe to send it off, Nick, you can the aspiring White House statement they put out for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
want me to pull it up and read it verbatim?
No, just give your little take and send us off to.
What do you mean
Songland.
my take? I don't know. I don't
Songland.
have a fucking take. The guy's fucking crazy.
It's a great sentiment. to give.
It was taken down.
Was it really?
Yeah, they deleted it.
Really?
Fucking bitches.
Here we go. White
These are
House
tough fuck
Omicron
boys.
At
statement.
least have some balls.
Yeah.
And I showed my girlfriend this, and she's like, I think this was the reaction from a lot of people was, there's no fucking way that's real.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no fucking way that's real.
It's like a Trump quote. Like,
Yeah,
you're
I
just
was like, even reading it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. Somebody, photoshopped that. So I wrote the person that I first seen it from. I was like, there's no fucking way that's real. And he's like, I wish that was true. And so I looked, and I was like, oh shit, this is fucking real. So this is from whitehouse.gov. This was their, I don't know, I guess their
Holiday cheer.
yeah, their Christmas release. This was kind of this wasn't the only statement. It was a long press release, but hidden within there is this statement. We are intent on not letting Omicron disrupt work and school for the vaccinated. You've done the right thing, and we will get through this. For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm.
Wow.
I like that meme where it's
Snopes rated that correct attribution.
Did they really?
Yeah, it says it right there.
Yeah, let's read the Snopes thing. Claim.
Yeah,
Claim. An official in the Biden White House said that in December 2021 that the unvaccinated are looking at a winter of severe illness and death. Rating. Correct attribution. This is a genuine public statement from Jeffrey Zients, counselor to U.S. President Joe Biden and the White House's COVID-19 response coordinator. At the beginning of a White House press briefing, however, contrary to how it has been presented by some, it was part of a long statement emphasizing the importance of wearing masks and getting vaccinated, not a standalone warning. Okay, that's
It doesn't make it any better.
I know, that's all besides the point. That's not how you do that.
And nobody was claiming that was a standalone statement. That's like,
I know.
That's the dumb shit they do. They make this little
truthful, but not honest.
So
yeah.
The ongoing theme of
I'm just gonna throw us out there. What was that guy's name? Jeffrey Zients?
Zients.
Next week's Space Bro?
Oh, what a schmuck. I read that
kills
too,
him,
bro,
sir.
and I didn't think that was real.
I
I'm
mean-
like, there's no way that's real. I thought it was a joke.
I think the way he states it is wrong, but is he really that wrong? I think America could use a little holiday of death.
A little winter of death.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that meme where it's like the colored hair person, like, you know, all red face, and it's like, die this winter, and then it's the
Chad.
Yeah, no. It's the I don't know what movie it's from. It's the old guy, and he's like, no, I don't think I will.
Captain America?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Fucking get
savvy
on,
with
Nick.
that.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a take. I think it's just crazy that this is coming from the WhiteHouse.gov, basically saying people that aren't vaccinated are going to die over the winter.
I fucking love it,
That
dude.
They
Even
took it
though,
down.
even though for the last, goddamn, we're going on 3 years of this. Even though for the last 3 years, two, we're about to enter our third year.
It feels true.
Beginning
I
of
know.
third will be soon.
Even though the last 2 years we've been warned at basically every turn that you're going to die from this, right? And some people have. I'm not, not belittling that, and it never happens.
Yeah.
They said the super spreader events, the Super Bowl party, no increase in that. All these different
We're
things.
calling it out right now. Omicron, come get us.
Come get us,
Bitch.
puss out, motherfucker.
Come
Hey, hold on one second. Book,
Yeah.
thanks for making dinner.
Hey,
Thanks,
welcome,
sir.
dude.
And you, thanks for making this whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. It's so good.
If anybody wants to send us another
So
bottle
delicious.
of
Blanton's?
Blanton's,
No one's going to be able to find that bottle.
Yeah.
well, if
I think
do-
you were right. I should have just sold it.
No,
yeah, I'm
this
glad
has
you
the-
didn't.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm glad for you guys to be glad,
I mean,
but
you got to taste its wonderfulness.
Should have smashed her with some
I've had it.
motherfucking
I've had it
stone.
before
Oh, God. It's
at my
so
other
good.
rich friend's house. But anyway, any you guys want to spread any Christmas cheer to our listeners? All right, cool.
Nope.
So from the cast,
Happy Hanukkah.
I'm gonna speak for everybody. I'm turning all your shit down so you can't interrupt my. Yeah, fuck you guys. From the cast of Politics on the Rocks, we want to thank you guys for 30 fun episodes. It's been a lot of fun doing this with you guys, getting your feedback, and I don't know, just the fact that you guys listen every week is pretty cool to us. If we didn't have listeners, we wouldn't do this. So as long as you guys listen, we're going to keep doing it. So with that being said, Merry Christmas, everybody, and stay safe, healthy, have a good time, share our stuff, send us bottles of whiskey, and we love you guys. Thank you.